Okay.
We're streaming?
I guess that's the idea,
In
right?
3.
All right, so it's just after 6 PM on Thursday, September the 15th. I'm going to call to order the regular select board meeting. First thing is to adjust agenda. I want to add a executive session to include the town manager to discuss personnel issues somewhere down at the end just before adjourn after old business. Is that okay? Anybody have anything else? All good? So could I have a motion to amend the agenda?
Motion to accept the amended agenda.
Second? Ooh.
Race it.
Quick fire. I'll give it to Wiz.
Casey gets to choose. All right.
Wiz is easier to
All in
type.
favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. I guess that was everybody anyway. Okay, next, communication from the audience. We have folks here who are here to discuss things that are on our agenda, unless you want to say something else.
Happy to be here.
Excellent.
I like the attitude.
Next, select board to approve minutes from last time, which was September the 1st. Could we have
Motion to approve the minutes from the September 1st, 2022.
Second?
any comments, questions, concerns? All in favor of approving the minutes as written, please say aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain because I wasn't there.
And one abstention. It's duly noted, and otherwise that's everybody, so motion carries. Next is town manager's report. David Upson.
Yes.
You're on.
Okay.
All right.
All right, P&H Senasac, the folks doing the dewatering at the, at the wastewater plant, they're done with the lagoon number 2 clean out and are currently demobilizing from the site. Negley and Chase and their subcontractors will begin work relining Lagoon 2 on Monday the 19th. So work is moving forward there.
Awesome.
The liner has been delivered. It's been sitting on the front lawn for a couple weeks,
Oh, great.
and they'll get to work on that.
The last time you reported, you said they were taking out a lot less.
We haven't gotten the final bills yet for the second round, but they were on track we were lower than what was expected.
Yeah,
Um,
and that's holding.
so far, yeah. Yeah.
Just curious.
Yeah, they did another 15 loads. No, they did another 10 loads after the last meeting, I believe. Maybe one more after that. So we just haven't gotten, we've gotten a trucking bill, right, Casey? But we haven't got the dewatering or the disposal bills yet.
Okay.
So, awesome.
Yeah. Yep. And they'll do the lagoon number 2 and some electrical work this fall.
So will Lagoon number 2 be back up and running?
Lagoon number 2 will be back up and running by December.
Really?
That's the current schedule, says that, yeah.
That's awesome.
And we're still meeting permit with one
With just
lagoon.
one,
Yeah.
which is also great.
Right,
Yeah.
yep.
It's-
That help, what?
State will come in and tell you, you gotta lower your phosphorus level.
Right, yeah.
That would be bad.
Yeah.
But
It cause more precipitate.
the time of year helps too. Water temperature,
Yep,
loading,
yep.
so. The final paving and some striping have occurred for the downtown paving project. I have been working with the project engineer to save as many parking spaces as possible. They will continue working on paving the side streets and driveways, the approaches up to the main road, as well as repairing areas that currently do not drain properly. This includes the area in front of the fire station, so.
So we didn't save any parking spaces. Where did you save any parking spaces?
Well, originally they were gonna take out, I think, a total of 19.
So they took out, what, 17?
No,
No.
No.
No?
We're only gonna take.
you can count them when we're done.
I don't know, but how many? I mean.
I haven't done a final count.
It depends how you count.
Well, I
'cause
mean, if
my-
we're gonna be excited about doing things go good, we gotta be honest when things don't go good.
Okay, so here's the
All
deal.
that parking in front of Positive Pie and the
Well,
school
that's
are
all,
important.
the parking in front of Positive Pie is in the intersection. So
So-
they're not gonna put stripes there. And our
They-
pedestrian traffic
All right,
plan
let's
was
just
to
wait and
not
see then. I
put
don't
all
care, I don't own a business uptown, so.
So
it doesn't matter to me.
what we can do is just have them not paint any parking spots and paint them all back. But if they paint the spots, they have to paint them
Yeah, I
to the
get it.
traffic
It's
standard.
just terrible.
We may as well have them paint them because they only last a year anyway.
And then,
It's like an
I
annual
just feel
thing.
bad, so I know like how Lynn, she's pretty upset about
who is?
Lynn, losing parking spots downtown. So as a
So
business owner. it's
what I
just-
recall is that we did lose some right on that main block of Main Street, but we picked some up heading south
Where,
on both sides of the road, I think,
Towards the
In front of
elementary
the
school.
church?
towards the church.
no, we
But
had
it's
back in
not-
front of the church before,
Yes. We,
so we didn't gain any.
well, we
Been back there
moved,
forever.
we moved the handicap spot across the road.
I'm not fighting, yeah, I'm just saying.
No,
Yeah, no, people may need to walk.
I'm trying to save as many spots as possible.
Yeah, I know you're trying to, it's just too bad we can't.
Right. We can't, yeah,
All the more reason to expedite the swinging bridge if possible.
right. Yeah. Because there's more parking at Daniel's building if we could have the swinging bridge.
There's other, there's talk of potentially another major parking, project that could yield lots of spots.
Nice,
Yes,
Okay.
good,
so,
get it done.
It
Yeah.
does help, it also, it does help to have the co-op be in a different location. There are less trucks downtown too. So I think
Correct.
that there's,
less double parking.
yeah.
That part's good,
Yeah.
for sure.
All right. And then they got the blinky thing down by Poolins now. So you come over the crest of that hill, people crossing the road, they push the button, like
Oh,
down here.
okay.
Oh, really?
Yep.
It's
Yeah. And then, so the areas that aren't draining properly, down here on the crosswalk, on Mill Street, at the corner of Mill Street and Main Street, down by the fire station, by Right Way, they'll work on, they're not gonna leave here until those are draining properly.
Great.
I got an assurance from the project engineer. I met with Gary Nolan Consulting LLC at the Davis Gravel Pit on Monday. Tom was there as well for some of it. We dug 14 test holes. Overall, the discovery digging yielded good results. Mr. Nolan will be providing a more detailed report in the future, probably the first October meeting, for the board's consideration to move forward with the conversations with Mr. Davis for a potential purchase. I'm hoping we can, the timeline for a vote at town meeting for that. But,
That'd be great.
yep, everything,
The test holes you're digging are to find out how deep the gravel goes, or how deep the sand goes?
correct.
Okay.
Or just what type of material is there. Yeah. Do you want to comment on any of that, or?
You're good.
Okay. The instant notification test email was sent out on September 6th at 10:45. If you signed up for the alert notification and did not receive the test email, please contact the town manager's office so we can fix the issue. We're also encouraging people other than town water and wastewater users to sign up in order to receive town-wide notifications when we have them. So I'm assuming you all got your test
Yeah,
email?
I don't think I signed up. That's what I-
Oh, it's
How
right,
much
if you
is
go to the
sign up?
town website, it's like splash, there's a splash right on the front.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Can't
I
avoid
don't
it.
cruise into the town website.
You don't go to the town website daily, Danny?
I probably go to it more than most people do, but not there.
I go to it every day.
Yeah,
I do.
I know.
I use it all the time.
Of course, I do mine. I mean, I do my Vassar one. I use that for like, if I even do like search and legislative stuff. Now I go to
Yeah.
my website first, because I just know that's.
Yeah, well, same thing with like our policies, or if you're wondering about.
Yeah,
like,
I use the Hardwick
yeah,
one. I just haven't recently.
Right, a zoning
So sign up.
ordinance.
I gotta sign up. I want to
Zoning
sign up. I
permit.
don't like, I want to be in the know.
Gotta be in the know.
You didn't say anything
All right.
about the bridge thing, but.
What else?
The public events,
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah, we're still scheduling out the stakeholder meeting and the open house for the bridge design unveiling and the park public input. So look for those early to mid-October. We'll put those up on our website and probably on Front Porch Forum. And location to be determined at this point. We're shooting for the townhouse, but we might have it up here in this room too.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out.
Sounds
when we get-
good.
When we get a little closer. But, I think the bridge abutments were inspected this week. We just haven't confirmed that.
I'm just still waiting
Yeah.
on pins and needles for
Yeah.
that.
Any other questions? Did I miss anything?
Good, thank you.
Okay.
Tom Fadden, sorry, we have a question from the audience.
They haven't
We don't have
given
to-
two,
we don't
they,
have to
they're gonna,
sign.
SE Group is gonna provide 2 drawings very soon.
Two schemes?
What's that?
Two different schemes?
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
but a lot depends on whether the abutments can be reused.
Yeah, just excited to see it.
Yeah, we are
So
too.
are we.
And it's gonna be a public, I don't think there's gonna be, I mean, we're gonna have a public thing about it, so they won't be held tight or anything,
Okay.
yeah. Tom Fadden, you're up next.
Bam.
Sure. Everybody can see our sidewalk project out front and finally done. We finished that up today, so, we'll be in the morning there to buff out Maggie's driveway for her so she can get back out.
Tom, can these be snow plowed? I know
That
that
side?
people on the,
Yes, they will be this year.
they would be plowed.
Yes.
The-
Yeah.
I know people on that street had wanted to be snow plowed, but they couldn't,
Right.
but now they can.
Yes,
Yes.
they are all ADA compliance and they're all 5 feet wide, less the curbing, so they're like 5'6" wide right now, so.
Great.
Except there's only one spot and that's up past the townhouse going around the corner there where the garden is. We made that as wide as we could there. That was the only section. I think that's just a hair narrow, but yes, so.
Great.
So we've already changed the route on the snow plowing for the skid steer, so he'll be starting up the Hazen first, coming down through and then working his way that way, then coming back down this way. So we've already changed that route on that, so. Besides that, of course, last week was a short week, but we ended up getting out with the 2 mowers that we ended up renting. We ended up doing, you probably asked me this morning if I could remember. I said probably not. Let's see, Ward Hill, Mountain View.
Montgomery, looks like you hit Montgomery Road.
Yep, we hit the upper part of Montgomery Road. We did a little bit on Center Road up on the upper portion until we lost one machine that Friday morning. So we did a little bit of that. We did all of Bunker Hill. We did a little bit back coming down West Hill. And I think he did a little bit in the village, I think, here and there, I think.
Yep.
I think that was it.
Works good?
I've got that machine coming back on the week of October 10th for 5 days.
Worked good then?
It
Good,
did,
better than
huh?
Better than nothing.
Yeah, it is, Danny. It's just that we almost wish it could have mulched it down more, because when we're going along cutting, you go along cutting for a ways, and then after you make a couple passes, you get out and pick up all the brush out of the road and throw it back up on the bank and stuff. So that's what was taking us long. But we tried to get it down as far as we could, but of course the blades are this high off the ground, so
Yeah.
when you're going along. But we got quite a bit of it pushed back and stuff, and Dave said he didn't hear any complaints, as far as I know.
All I
about what
heard
we
was
did,
good.
So,
Good?
Yeah,
Success.
what I saw looked good.
yeah.
So when you said you lost a machine, did you find it again?
Well, they kind of said that we could have it through Friday,
Yeah?
Yeah, they did.
and they came,
Oh, they took it?
called what, early Friday morning, said they wanted one of them back.
They call it
So
like 8:30.
Yeah, so they came.
That's a little bit rude.
And they were late getting it here Tuesday too.
We got one machine, I think it was
We got
Tuesday
discounted.
afternoon at,
Stay
I think it
on,
was 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
stay on. Yeah, I saw it
So
late
then
when
we
I was done in Marshall.
ran both on Wednesday and Thursday, and then Mike and Pearlie said they'd work overtime, just to try to get the machines out there for the
Yeah,
full 3 days, but,
Good job.
so, but anyway, so.
So they're coming back again when?
One of them is
One of them on,
the week of the 10th, and I'm gonna have Gary Dimmick, or hopefully have Gary Dimmick go pick it up on Friday the 7th.
So
And
it's
then it'll be
good.
here Monday morning for us, and we'll have it all week.
nice.
I lost the train of thought where I was going. We only had one sewer issue, I believe, that was up in the West End area. We got this pump back, for Glenside, we got that all put back together and up at the pump house up there. Besides that, the only other thing I think was, we got Montgomery Road all ripped up and tore up for paving. That's supposed to be coming in sometime beginning of October, off from Center Road side. where everybody was playing, where they had
Oh,
the
that- yeah.
giant mogos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We do got one soft spot, I gotta go back up and look at it. It looked like after the guys got done digging it and we put some stay mat down on top, now it looks like something's starting to boil up.
On top of the hill.
On top of the hill, so we gotta go back up there and dig that up and see what's going on
See if you
with
can
that.
put drainage or something.
Well, whether we ended up opening up a spring up there or what, that never came up before or what, but.
Oh, it was coming up before, I bet.
So, we dug a few rocks out of the road and stuff while we were there, but if anything, we'll lay down some fabric
Okay.
down below it so we can cover it up and stuff, so.
Oh, and we fixed the wall behind
Retaining
the
wall.
inn. So it washed, the inn caved, the wall caved behind the inn in,
By the river?
into the river.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
In June.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere down there.
Yeah.
Oh.
So I had a plan when these guys were done with the stormwater project, because they have a big enough excavator. When they were done, they went over and gave us, they did that half a day.
Yeah, we were done, what, by 11, 12?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there.
And they
Restack the blocks.
restacked the blocks, put some new blocks in, and pretty solid. So,
Great.
Yeah,
yep,
That's good, so we didn't have to pay a transport fee for a big
Correct.
excavator.
right.
yep.
Nice.
And we had pretty much all the material here except for the blocks.
Except for the blocks.
Yeah.
We had to go get those.
Good.
I think that's it.
Nice. Questions for Tom or?
Do you know how
Thank-
many miles that was
What was
with the
that?
tractors? Like total mileage? Any idea? Casey asked me, that's why I'm asking you.
No idea, because a lot of the roads, it worked good having two machines side by side, because
Yeah.
one would go low and the other one would go up a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think we were making like 4 passes,
Yeah.
sometimes 5,
Yeah.
you know, to reach up as high as we could. So,
Yeah.
You got, it seems like quite a bit of mileage.
Yeah, well, once we got used to them,
Yeah.
you know, of course, it was that, you know, going up, and then next thing you'd be coming in with it, when you wanted to go out with it, and once we got used to it, then we could go a little bit faster, but
Seems
we
like
go
quite a
pretty
bit.
good. So,
Yay.
Yeah. Oh, I don't have my phone off. So is Mike Henry still on Zoom? It looks like,
He is, he's right there.
hey, can you give us a Hardwick Police Department report?
I'm just going to show up. I know Danny's probably checked out my website out there. So I want to make sure people are looking at that and telling us, giving a little feedback. If there's anything else we need to put on there. One of the things that I had on there is we do fingerprints for applicants. And I just found out today that people weren't realizing that we did those fingerprints and they were traveling all the way to down to Mount Pillier to get theirs done. So just want to put the word out there that applicant fingerprints and stop by our office and get them done there.
So this is
Save you the trip.
so is this if somebody wants to work at the schools and needs to get it fingerprinted?
Yes,
So they can get it done here now?
they can get it done right in Hardwick. We are doing probably about 2 to 3 people a day for the schools, but I just, learned today in a meeting that a lot of people were traveling down to Mount Clear to get it done. So, just trying to put that word out there. It is on our website. I don't know if anybody's had a chance to take a look at that and give us any feedback on that. I'd appreciate that. If there's anything else we need to get on there. So the other thing that we're trying to work on right now is,
Hang on, Mike, we lost. We can't quite hear you. Start again?
It's full, the speaker's all the way up.
am I good to go?
No.
So,
Hang on.
Is his volume up?
Try talking to us again.
Okay.
No, you're very soft.
I'm very soft.
Yeah.
I'll try and talk a little bit louder.
No, I don't think it's you. I don't think it's your voice.
Can't read lips.
Let me call him.
Hang on. We see if we can. Opie's gonna go see if he can get you on a cell phone connection and just put you on speaker, and that might be better.
and we'll just mute yourself on Zoom though, because there'll be feedback. Yeah, mute yourself on Zoom. Yep.
Computer down, you have it to somebody else's office. Turn it speaker on.
Mike,
That first big mess.
Yep.
that's better.
People are That's an option. That's an
Mute your,
He did.
no, I can hear.
No, he's on mute on Zoom.
Just ask me if he's got anything to
Yeah.
say.
Okay, so what we're trying to do is implement officers into the schools a little bit more, just more on a positive note than, Am I okay?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. So far, we've got officers, like Officer Rossi has been up at the elementary school, just having lunch with the kids. We've got Officer Paul Bernard and Officer Force. They're going into the high school, just more a little bit on a positive note, trying to get to know the kids. And just so people aren't concerned every time they see a police car up there at the high school. Day one, we were up there, and the high school got a lot of calls as to why the police department was up there. So I just like to dispel that, that whenever we're there, there's something wrong. So I think the other thing we were trying to do is we were talking about moving the speed signs around. And this is kind of something I need to work with Tom Fadden on, because I didn't realize we need to have a pole and also a speed limit sign there. So I think we need to work with Tom on that to get some more poles put up so that we can move those battery operated speed carts around a little bit more.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah, we're limited as to our locations that we can put them, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Do they bolt right onto the square post?
So we'll just have a few locations and,
But we want, we want more locations, so we'll have to, there's some signs that we need to reclaim.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And again, I'll look for input from the board, from the people, general public, if where they'd like to place those signs, we'd like to move those two around a little bit more, than just keeping them stagnant where they are at this point.
Okay.
And that's, the only other thing is we're trying to work on our SIU cases. We've tried working with DSP on this. There's a Caledonia SIU. Right now, we're fielding them all at this point. So that's something that we're trying to work on in the near future here. Trying to come up with a better plan for that. Those are special investigation cases.
And there's a special investigation unit officer assigned for Caledonia County, is what you're saying?
Well, the thing is, it used to be through VSP.
Yep.
And
What is that?
VSP is
Vermont City
rolling
Police.
out at this point, not offering any assistance on those cases. So we need to come up with another plan on this.
So we had, at one point, we had a SIU officer for quite a while in our police department, and we had associated funding.
Correct.
Right, that came through
Correct.
DSP.
Yeah.
That's what you say.
Oh, that came through?
It came through the Child Advocacy Center.
Okay.
And the problem with that is we don't have a detective dedicated to that. They have to be specifically dedicated to those cases.
Right.
Yeah,
And Mike can't be dedicated to those cases, but he is doing them. He can't be dedicated to them as the chief of police.
right, because he's trying to be our chief of police.
Right.
Yes.
And so VSP's been pushing back hard because they don't have people available. I've contacted Chip Troiano about this. So we are making the right phone calls.
Okay. And the work's getting done, it's just
Yep.
that it's not
It's taken out of his.
it's taking out of Mike's time as chief.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I was just wondering, going back to the polls, if it might make sense to, there's definitely speeding on Hardwick Farms Road, as you're aware, Mike, and the Montgomery Road pole is down, so maybe
Oh, no,
there's.
it's fine. They took the sign and everything down.
That pole
Oh.
disappears. Every time we put it up, it disappears within a week. Somebody knocks it down, takes it out, Yeah, it's
Wow.
ridiculous.
So
Gotta
where
put a
where
game
is it?
cam up.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, it might be worth investing in a game cam.
Maybe putting a speed.
I always thought, 240 volts or something like that.
It's funny 'cause
Power right across the road, I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure Derek or Brendan and Helen would be fine with putting a little game cam up somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Or
Oh, it's on that
or
end?
on the, there's also the speed limit sign by the Laguses. That one always gets vandalized.
Yeah.
Pretty much always. That's a good one.
yeah. I like the idea of investing in a game cam.
I also took a report from one of our officers on Monday morning, was it? That somebody had thrown a park bench into Macville Pond from the park.
Oh,
So we're investigating that. And, it's funny because we get Facebook on the Facebook, police department Facebook. I've seen comments of, why can't our officers focus more on the drug problem in town? Well, we could if we weren't.
if people weren't throwing benches into the,
If we weren't
Into the pond.
responding to calls about people throwing benches and vandalizing things in town. So, a lot of this stuff takes away from the real police work that we're supposed to be doing, rather than dealing with people's children doing stupid vandalism, so.
well, and hopefully over time, Mike's
Yeah.
approach of getting into the schools, meeting
Right.
the kids helps set a tone that makes people not
Right,
want to vandalize as much.
yeah.
so we gotta go fishing again?
I asked the electric department to fish it out, but I don't know if they did, because we got another call on it, but I thought they did. But it might be down by the dam,
Where we got it at last time.
yeah.
All right.
Do it
But
quick
I'm on
before
that
it gets
one.
too cold.
I will find out who did that.
All right.
I believe you.
Any questions for Mike? We have him. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
All right. We're gonna roll along. Next up is Hardwick Electric Department report. We have Michael Ambrosino here.
So we have a number of issues just to go over quickly. We had our annual safety inspection of the dam at Caspian. No new issues were found. The inspector was okay with the maintenance been done to date. So I think right now we're okay with the dam. We've become part of the the global energy crisis and cost of power. So our purchase power has gone up dramatically. We're about $96,000 over in terms of how much we've paid for power this year. Really a function of when we have to go out and purchase power, because most of the Northeast power comes from gas, and the gas prices have gone through the roof. So we're trying to figure out what we can do to resolve this going forward. We're looking at other methods of purchasing power and generating power. We're also doing some investigation of battery storage, so the excess power we do make we can keep and use to reduce our peak. They're all costly alternatives, but I think going forward, especially with the way the world is now, everybody's dependent on everybody. It's like we're not our local community anymore, so we're looking into those things seriously.
Right, can I ask you a question? So
Sure.
that's basically when there's so much usage that we have to purchase additional.
Yeah, we
power.
have deals with different, like
Yeah.
with nuclear and wood and hydro. With everyone, it's a set amount. When we need more than that, we have to go out in the market and buy it.
Right.
And it's really expensive.
Yeah, but it's not always that we have to do that. It's just
No,
when
no,
there's-
sometimes we have more than we need and we get to sell it, but it hasn't been that way so far, at least early in the year.
And do you aim to have 100% of your power covered by contracts, or do you aim
Yes.
to have like 95%?
Yeah, it's more somewhere between 98, 103. It's all done
Okay.
through Vespa, because, they're buying for everyone, and we get our piece, and they try and
Right.
proportion it accordingly. So we've been pretty good. I mean, that's not even luck. The calculations are pretty close to us getting where we need to be. And 96,000 is a big number, but it's probably a big number because the cost is so much now.
Right.
Usually it wouldn't be anywhere near that. So we're focused on that critically because it's important to keep the rates, as low as we can.
I see increasingly solar panels going up all over town. Are they making any difference in relieving the demand on electricity?
Yes, except all those panels when they're private, cost us money, because we pay for their excess in more than it costs us to buy. So,
You pay the excess for more than it costs to buy out in the market?
yeah.
Interesting.
But we have H11, which this year generated 1.6 million kilowatt hours, saved us $125,000. So H11 has been really good for us.
What is H11?
That's up by, it's a photocell array. It's up by the Hardwick trails.
Oh.
It started the end of last year, it started
Okay.
operating.
Is Kenny Davis is on, the one over by Kenny's online now?
Is that the one off Center Road?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's online, I don't think it is.
I haven't heard.
But that's a big one, that's bigger than H11.
Yeah, I haven't heard though that they've got it working.
And that one's, yeah.
But that would be,
Isn't that through BIPSA?
is that, do you know the details of that?
Not offhand.
Yeah.
I know it's 2.2 megawatts.
Yeah.
I know that. And it'll
and
help us when it
remember,
comes online as long as the sun's out. It
Yeah.
doesn't do much in the middle of winter when we peak.
Right.
Carry on.
Okay. So far in revenues this year, we're actually over budget a little bit, which is good because it offsets some of that cost of the electricity, but we think by the time the end of the year, we're not really going to be over budget on revenue because it's going to cost us more to pick up the additional electricity. But we're going to monitor it closely. Everything is costing more. We just bought some transformers. They were 200% more than they were a year and a half ago. And the lead time now is 40 weeks. And although it sounds, wow, it's our problem, I can tell you, I'm doing a lot of work in New York, we have the same problem. Everything's through the roof. Getting deliveries is crazy. Things are on boats outside Long Beach, California. You can't get materials. It's really slowed down everything. So we're just part of the bigger problem.
Yeah.
H11 we talked about. We've been upgrading the infrastructure in a number of places around town. You see the trucks. We're trying to cross-connect some power lines, so if there is a failure now, we can backfeed from another direction, so the downtime will be much less than it has been in the past, although I think Hardwick Electric is pretty good at getting power back online. But we're trying to make a big push to make sure that we've upgraded the infrastructure so that there's less downtime. Certainly it's critical here where you have farm animals. People are tough. Animals aren't as tough as us, even when they're bigger. I think that covers just about everything I wanted to go over. Sure.
There's been a big announcement about a lot of federal money to subsidize chargers for electric vehicles. Has HED picked into that at all?
I think we're looking at it. We haven't really gone into it very deeply. I think some of that money was going to private people to build. I think we've talked to some people who wanted to build charger stations here in Hardwick. I'm not sure what
Well,
was.
and Hardwick's part of that program that Norwich Electric is supposed to be, the ones that were supposed to go at the co-op. Do you want to throw anything in there? So there's supposed to be a couple that we just don't have a spot for yet.
Correct.
And doesn't HEP have anything to do with that, or are we to have to?
Well, they would
Hook it up.
hook it up, and then the level 3 chargers. You guys talked about demand fees?
We have.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hit the back burner with all these other things that are going on.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been on the back burner.
I might have missed it, but this is a different topic. Have we talked about having another combined meeting?
We
We
have
did.
talked about it, but
just
we haven't scheduled it.
Been talking about it for 15 years.
Well, we've been having them, Danny.
No, we've had,
Yeah.
before you, Danny, we had one.
We had one last
We
year.
had one, huh?
We need to schedule one for the fall.
We've been having them we were having them twice a year, but
So we'll have our people talk to your people about scheduling a meeting.
Yes.
and
That'd
we'll
be
keep
good.
doing that.
Let's have snacks.
And Danny wants snacks. Duly noted. Somebody, is that in the minutes? Danny wants snacks.
Could we potentially do it during the day? How does that work for your folks?
Some of them are to avail, not all the commissioners can make during the day.
Okay. I mean, an evening meeting is fine too. It's just, yeah.
We did 5 o'clock last
Yeah.
Yeah, we can,
Yeah, we're still
Let's
doing
get
our
a little
meetings
bit.
on Zoom.
yeah,
Work with Mike and,
Yeah.
yeah, that'd be great.
we've talked about it.
I know.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, awesome. Any more questions for Michael while he's here? Thank you so much for coming.
You're
Really
welcome.
appreciate it. All right, I'm gonna roll ahead. Where are we? Item 1, select board to designate the town manager as our voting delegate for the annual meetings of VLCT, that's the Vermont League of Cities and Towns, PASSIF, which I don't know what it stands for.
Property and Casualty Insurance Fund.
I knew the insurance was in there. And VERB, I also don't know what that stands for.
Vermont Employment Resource Benefits,
Right.
yes.
All the stuff that we think of as coming from the League of Cities and
All the
Towns.
stuff we pay into.
I move that we designate David Upson, town manager,
As our voting delegate.
as our Ilama.
Second.
Our I-Lama.
Oh, what?
Our I-Lama. All right. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Upson. Appreciate that. Next, item 2, Christine Burke, Jesse Upson, and Barb Delzio to provide an update on the community center project. Sounds very exciting.
Does, doesn't it?
It does.
Pass this around.
Visual aids. That's good.
I already thought. Yeah, you wanna go ahead? No, go ahead. Write as much as you want.
Schedule 15 minutes.
Okay. All right. So, we're here as the HCCC, Hardwick Community Collaboration Council. We came together to support the movement toward a collaborative community environment where each person is valued. We will do this by engaging with community members, their families and organizations to facilitate locating their feel-good place in our community, where each can find supportive friends, make a personally meaningful contribution, and grow confident that by doing so, their needs and more will be met. This requires a shift away from the survival of the fittest dynamics, which keep many people, including young school children, stuck in survival mode. When in survival mode, people are unable to trust, struggle to think clearly, tend to overreact, are unpredictable, quick to anger, act out and/or seek escape, and practice high-risk, self-destructive behaviors, like a lot of the things we've been talking about tonight. Consequently, their health, relationships, lifestyle, and lifespan are generally poor. All people have a survival mode. We need our instincts to take over when we are in life and death situations where taking the time to think could mean our demise. However, when it comes to interacting with our families and community members, being in survival mode often leads to being ridiculed and rejected. Thus, the sense of danger that already controls the unsuspecting person's behavior becomes reinforced and personalized. Thanks to genetic memories, there is little more threatening than thinking you do not belong in your community. For such outsiders, life is something to be endured, and so it is. Choosing a different mode, emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence empowers us to identify and regulate our own emotions, recognize the emotions of other people and feel empathy toward them, and to use these abilities to communicate effectively and build healthy, productive relationships with others. That's according to Harvard Health Publishing. In short, emotional intelligence is a proven off switch to survival mode that empowers us to be welcomed back into our community groups. Simply knowing that we are not the behavioral patterns that drive us, and we are not powerless against them, is life-changing for many. With a little curiosity and the right environment, we can learn to choose different patterns quite easily. Granted, it takes practice with ongoing support until mastery is achieved. Why survival mode versus emotional intelligence mode matters in town government. People in survival mode often require lifelong public assistance to meet their basic needs. Plus, they tend to use a greater share of police, rescue, medical, and school resources. Meanwhile, their contributions to the local economy and tax base are much lower than they would be if they were able to choose an interest to pursue, think clearly about the next steps, and consistently follow through on their ideas. Leaving people in survival mode costs our community in terms of dollars, morale, and overall sense of community. So what do we do? The proposed HCCC approach. Start with the individuals and their organizations who recognize this situation and are already addressing it. And the map that Jesse sent around shows some of those. And start with the individuals who recognize the situation and are addressing it, who recognize the situation and are willing to address it, also on the map, have personally experienced this situation and are recovering from it, and are currently experiencing this situation and are seeking help. Connect them in your greater community hub. It's an online software that I'll actually give you a handout for. Facilitate online discussions about what we need, what we're doing, what's working, and what's still needed. The community center adjoined to the police station would be part of these discussions and a 6-month plan. Outline a 6-month plan with a volunteer pilot project group. And we imagine this pilot project group being made up of groups on the map. People we've already spoken to, in fact. Gather and synthesize what we've learned so far as the project progresses, and then outline the next 6-month rollout plan to expand access to more of the community. So we would start with a small group, work on figuring out exactly what it is that we need to do to help people to get more connected and more able to communicate and facilitate, and then reach out and expand that into more of the community. And then share the pilot project results with interested town representatives and groups such as this one. The first year funding need is $105,000. That includes software for up to 60 private or public group spaces, which includes text message and email announcement capabilities. It includes a connector, community builder person, which is Jesse, unbelievably good at that. A facilitator, which is me, who's been teaching emotional intelligence for 15 years, and a project manager, who is Barb and not here with us this evening. So we're requesting to be funded so that we can prioritize this initiative, as indicators suggest many more people are approaching crisis mode. Preliminary meetings with NKHS, the Northeast Kingdom Health Services, Human Services, I always say that, thank you, have indicated that the town will receive back some of the monies allocated to them to serve Hardwick as a result of our community self-service initiative. And we're actually meeting with them tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and that's on the agenda. How much money? So here's the conclusion. This initiative is intended to increase the economic vitality of our community through increased creativity and ingenuity, while decreasing the money spent on reacting to survival mode driven behaviors. Emotional intelligence has been proven to decrease addictions, reduce violence, and increase clear resolution-oriented communication. Therefore, we expect fewer police calls, fewer rescue squad calls, and fewer school conflicts. So, I'm going to hand these out. I want to hand out what I just read. I didn't want to hand it out before I read it because I know nobody can help but scan ahead and then, yeah. I'm going to pass it down. Thank you. And I made a few copies of the print screen for the online community space. People want to...
The graphic is really cool.
Thank
you for sharing it. It's really awesome. I don't know if everybody got a chance to
Isn't that so
see, but able to see Elizabeth, but it's really cool.
That's Jesse's artwork. Yeah, so basically what it says is, a Hardwick Community Collaboration Council will serve as the nervous system for the town, gathering and taking in information and sending it to the proper organ, gathering and connecting all organs to create one fluid organism. So basically, if one organ is not thriving, then the whole organism is affected. Chris and I actually came together. We met at one of the Hardwick town manager meetings to form the dinner, meet the town manager dinners. And we started listening to what was coming up at the meetings and then what was coming up at the dinners and what the town, was needing and looking for, and themes started to pop up. And also just themes working in healthcare, and then being in the state police, and just, being observant of people in general. And we started just talking to people. And what's coming forth is just this kind of like, the systems are overwhelmed right now with mental health and with people in survival mode not getting some of their basic needs, and the systems are not prepared for that. They're not, that's not what they're trained to do. They're trained to teach or to take care of, medical issues. And what's happening is burnout. And so what we're hoping to do is just provide this kind of like hug around all of the systems in Hardwick to support, whether it's with trainings or, hey, we don't know what to do in this situation. Can we come talk to you, whether it's with conflict among staff or with students, or restorative justice work, and just kind of have volunteers, train volunteers, and be this place where you could come in, have a cup of coffee, and connect with someone. And then there's 5 small offices, and NKHS said that they would put in iPads and phones to be able to have someone come in and connect to a telehealth appointment, so they didn't have to worry about transportation. That they would come 1 day a week to be available for if someone has substance abuse issues, or any sort of resource that's needed to be able to connect them into a system. But really, what we want is community. And when we went to NKHS with this idea, they were like, oh, this is what we're about to roll out, where communities are the triage for their own mental health, so that they're taking care of each other first, rather than going to the hospital or to jail, which we know doesn't work. And just being a pilot program to try and do something different. We don't know exactly what it looks like. We don't know exactly what all the needs are, but we want to find out.
Where are your headquarters?
Well, we would like them to be on the other side of the police department in the senior center.
Right, got it.
Except for Thursdays.
Except for Thursday.
We've talked to the seniors up there, and they're
very welcoming.
They're very welcoming. They don't want us to send the kids down there on Thursdays. They said they've done that. But I've gotten a quote from Fairpoint. We found where all the internet connections were. So that building is wired and ready to go. I ran fiber to the police department just recently, and we could wire that up on a separate network for telehealth. So there is some initial investment. We have the opioid settlement money that we can use some of, but this is really, this is tied in a little bit to the school. And last year they applied for a $1.4 million CDS request for a similar, for a collaborative with community and school. So we haven't heard back from Sanders' office on this yet. I don't think they decide on those. But this is it's really a pilot program, and They've done a lot of work up to this point on communicating with Northeast Kingdom Human Services, and they're excited. And
Wellspring.
and Wellspring here across the road. Yeah.
Yeah, they would like to be involved. They said that their mission is to be able to have the town, mental health accessible to everyone in the town, and that they're not currently able to do that. So this would be another way to help with their mission. And they're an established nonprofit that could perhaps help fund some things. NCIC I reached out to, they have a lot of community grants currently too. So,
We're not looking to put this burden right now on taxpayers. We're going to be very
creative.
Very creative on how this could be funded. But in the long run, this is something that would reduce our police department budget potentially. Or we could supplement this center with some of the police department funds.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of my logistical questions, they're not that exciting, are basically, is this, so it sounds like this would be a part of the town, not necessarily a separate organization, is that correct? Or is it a separate organization, or are you trying to form a separate organization to collaborate with the town? Because we have lots of different organizations that are pseudo part of the town government, like the downtown designation is kind of right now housed under the town of Hardwick, but is seeking its nonprofit status.
Yep.
Is that kind of, are you eventually wanting to have your own organization and you're hoping to have support from the town to pilot it, or still trying to figure it out and want to start?
Wanting to put together a model that works so that we can collaborate and support the town and the groups and the other people who are working to support the town and the other groups, yeah. Yeah, we have, I think it's more, we know what we want to do, and then we're not sure how the logistics of it all work. Like NKHS said, you know, the community hub is in St. J is community, the community runs it. So there's that model, and then there's a model where it's the town, but you know, the town supports it. And then was there one more? Or is it a private? Yeah, yeah. But it makes, yeah.
Well, it makes sense, so what are we doing? What do we need to do?
So basically,
Where are we at? I get that we don't know yet.
Right.
So-
What's the next step, I guess?
Northeast Kingdom Human Services is our county mental health organization. And we have the northern counties also healthcare. So we have two large human service.
And Memorial County does children in Hardwick, and
Correct.
NKHS does the adults in Hardwick.
Right, so we have three mental health organizations, or mental health and health organizations that I feel, I mean, Northern County serves Hardwick for sure. I don't feel like we are getting the coverage that we need or deserve from any KHS. So really, the money that is allocated for Hardwick for those agencies, some of that could potentially come back and stay within the community.
And KHS also said that they currently rent in the Centennial building, that perhaps they could move their office and rent up there, which would then go back into the pot. And we did put on the agenda for tomorrow afternoon's meeting to ask them how much money is allocated that they would be willing to send back this way.
What do you need from us?
Your support.
Yeah, I think we're just looping you in as to what we're trying to create.
Well, it sounds like you also want some funding from the town too, ideally, right?
Ideally, yes.
Yeah. That's the other ask.
Well,
Yeah.
Because but that's important, it's an important ask to.
Yeah.
Right, but they don't know what it is, right?
The funding that I would probably budget for would be just the hard costs, the fixed costs of that building. To pay for the internet, to pay for paint, furniture, like that, just the initial, get it started. And I mean, the senior center they've done, great work up there. It could use an overhaul, some paint, a phone system. So there's some of those costs that are coming down the pipe that we can also look for grants for.
Right, but that's part of the budgeting process.
Right.
November, December.
Right.
This is just a heads up to us that this is. That
Do
you're
that
going-
with it's a good idea.
And there's a software issue
Yes,
as
right.
well. Yeah, there's.
We would like to start that sooner.
We'd like to get the connection and the groups happening in the software where it's just easier to connect. You don't have to get everybody together physically, yeah. And that is $3,500 a year for 20 groups, and then $500 for each additional group. I currently have set it up personally with 5 groups paying $600, but to add additional, and I've donated a couple of groups to this effort, but to add more groups so that all of the groups that are here could have their own space and also interact with the other groups in the community, it's $3,500 for the year.
And then one of the needs, I recently sat on a Community Partners Coalition meeting, and something that we always talk about on that meeting is being able to be on the same calendar. And this software would put everybody kind of on the same page for their programs and what they're offering for folks.
Yeah.
So it's really a collaboration software.
So why can't you use a little bit of the ARPA funds that are left to get it started?
Could potentially do that.
Are there ARPA funds left?
Yes,
There's
there are.
13,000 left, I think.
I
Really?
make a motion that we
Unless
use
we give it up to the
3,500 to
library.
this thing rolling. I like Tommy.
I don't know if is that what you're asking for? I mean, I'm sure
It
there's.
gets the software going,
Okay.
and that's a good next step. And
So
then I
it
guess
sounds like Danny's motioning to use $3,500 from the ARPA funds. To get the software
To get
running, is that what
this
you're-
project rolling, yeah. We're in, at that point, we're in.
Second.
All right, any discussion on Danny's?
Best use of the ARPA funds I've seen so far.
Come on.
We're getting a lagoon.
Finally.
All in
Yeah, the
favor?
sewer project and this. We finally used it
All
for
in-
something good.
All in favor of allocating $3,500 of ARPA funds to help set up the software platform? Please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
And you're gonna carry on with figuring out what needs to be done in the building.
Yep.
We potentially have resources in the corner who can help with grants.
In the corner?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, obviously, yes.
Sorry, I think you're being over there now, because
Yeah, I didn't know what you were seeing in the corner.
I just
don't
see things. I just see things.
Tracy's office is over there.
That's where I'm looking.
If you guys.
No, I get it, finally.
If we're having this discussion about funds, we have the opioid settlement funds. Can we use some of those for paint and?
Getting the physical building ready.
Right.
What I think could be really helpful for the next ask, like it was really, for me, it was easier to make a decision about the $3,500 because it was clear
Yeah.
that this is what it was.
Right.
It'd be
So let
really
me-
nice in the
Let me
next.
get a budget.
Yeah.
For that project. And we can also, Mike and I met with the school earlier this week, and there's community service, so we can get students to do the painting.
Labor.
And
They
get
did a
that
good job
building,
with that mural.
Force.
get that building to pop.
A budget would be great.
I will get that for you.
Awesome.
Good.
Okay.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Good luck.
Appreciate it. Yeah. You drove Tommy away.
That's his idea.
All right.
Good work, Tom.
Thank you, guys. Next up is, item 3 is Cannabis Control Commission, which is currently us, because we haven't appointed anybody else to it. Kind of like the health officer, to consider.
No, that's just you.
I know. To consider approving a cultivator's license for Daniel Bauman. So we got some information in our packet from the state that doesn't
Yeah.
really say anything.
Okay,
And it says for more information to contact the applicant, but there's no contact info on the,
right. So
Do
And-
you have contact info?
Very
Yes.
interesting.
And has this person gone through Kristen's steps?
Yes. Let me,
Yeah.
let me fill you in on this.
okay, so there is more information?
Yeah, let me just fill you in on this whole process.
That
Which
sounds
is,
good.
hasn't,
I did some reading, but you
is
should
still
fill us.
very fuzzy on the end
Yes, it is.
of the Cannabis Control Board. So, the Cannabis Control Board recently started approving applicants that applied in May for these cultivator, retailer, testing facilities, wholesaler licenses. A lot of the information that I got up front was that we started a local cannabis control board after the opt-in vote, obviously, that we would have some oversight over the licenses. So we did the resolution, we went with, what we were advised to do as the smart thing to do. And I was under the impression that this would be for retail establishments only. So the local cannabis control board will now see all the licenses.
So not just retail, but
Not
also
just retail.
cultivation and others. Yeah.
Correct. So the state contacted, or we get an email from the state saying this person applied for a state license. It's granted pending local approval. Kristen has received the zoning application for this individual. It was a permitted use, or I don't know if I think he may have gone through the DRB a while back, because they knew that they were gonna have to go through local zoning. So pursuant to Vermont statutes, the local cannabis control board can really only regulate these license requests on the zoning and land use level.
And signage.
And nuisance.
Nuisance, right.
Nuisance, yeah.
And where does nuisance,
Like our nuisance laws,
okay,
yeah.
in our,
Well,
no,
traffic
in our zoning?
traffic would be in zoning,
Zoning, right.
yeah.
Is
And-
nuisance also in zoning?
Well, nuisance is kind of like an overarching definition for all,
Alright.
yeah, odor,
Okay.
trash. This particular permit is completely indoor. And really, we could just look at the zoning permit. And the local cannabis control board in towns without zoning are a little bit more, like there's a better reason for them. But since Hardwick has zoning, they go through a lot of checks already. So we're gonna see a lot of these,
What I'm hearing is
Yeah.
we don't have any say in it.
That's what I'm hearing too.
we could potentially, going down the road, if there were violations with this, we could not renew their license.
The same
How
thing with
can
like
we
an
not
alcohol
do that,
license,
though?
right?
Correct.
So it'd be the same thing as if we got a report from
Right.
Tanya that that something went wrong, then we could say we're not
Right.
gonna renew your
Right.
permit.
But really,
That
it's
is a
zoning.
These-
terrible system.
I'm telling you, the state is shooting from the hip with all this stuff.
That is silliness.
So basically, what I read, which is kind of what you said, is
Yep.
that
Yeah.
basically we have
That's
our
what I
zoning,
read.
right? So
The
if,
zoning board actually has the power,
right, and if we wanted to.
only
to-
on zoning issues though.
However, I'll tell you this, I got another license sent to me, and that person didn't get a zoning permit. So it is a good way,
So what happens there?
then
Do they get sent back
Send them
to
back.
step one?
he has to talk to Kristen. So that, in a way, that's,
So-
we wouldn't have gotten, that license would have been granted by the state had we not had a local cannabis control board.
Okay.
And then there would have been a snafu. Somebody would have had to report to the town that this person has this going on their property.
It's not compliant.
Typically, with any other zoning issue.
Right.
And then we would
The
have had that.
zoning board would shut them down on a zoning issue. It would have
Exactly.
nothing to
Only
do
if there was a
with-
complaint.
Well, potentially,
Only if
it's,
there was a complaint.
yeah.
Wow.
And historically, how many times have we shut somebody down
Yeah.
because of a lack of a zoning issue?
Never.
We usually offer them a
Well,
way to get
fortunately for
compliance.
us, we have a zoning administrator that is not into shutting things down. She's into making things comply, which
She
is
does-
the way, she does a
Yeah.
great job. That's the way they should be. It
Yeah.
shouldn't be about shutting people down.
Correct.
It should be about figuring things out, and she does an excellent job. But this shouldn't be on their plate, shouldn't be on the zoning administrator's plate to
Regulate cannabis.
Well,
ultimately.
she's not regulating it.
No, but it's just, it's silly that.
It's a use.
Yeah.
It's agricultural processing use within our
No, they said
zoning
it's not
bylaws.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
But the state says they're not.
Even
No,
retail?
it's not agriculturally exempt.
Okay.
It
Oh,
fits
it's a
the
use.
definition of agricultural processing.
In the retail end of it as well? Must be.
No, the retail end of it fits into retail.
Yeah.
But no different than a farm stand?
There was some language saying.
Farm
you-
stand's different.
Different.
That's a
Why?
different use.
But
think-
if you're in agriculture, you're growing tomatoes and you're growing
Yeah, but
Yeah, I'm
this
allowed to
is,
sell my
this is
tomatoes.
specifically,
regulated.
this is specifically defined as not agricultural, because if it was agricultural, from the state, it's not, because it
Right.
would be exempt and it would be regulated by the Department of Agriculture.
Wow.
So basically,
Retail
we're,
business has to pay sales.
It's
tax.
pretty unregulated, but it sounds to me.
Well, they're kicking it down to local control, and I don't,
No, that was a great idea.
so
Well-
basically, so we're like the last stop.
And we have to respond within 60 days, or they take that as a.
So we
just
what
are
is our
complicit.
decision based on? What are we supposed to be making as the board or commission or whatever?
we
What are we
looking-
basing, what's the
I think
criteria
we
that we're
should-
basing our decisions on?
I think we
There's
should
no
see the
rules?
zoning decision.
Well, minimally, we should see
Because
that,
that's
but
all
beyond that, there's no rule, so if we're being asked to approve something, then for me, there needs to be a reason or some criteria or something to approve or not approve. What I'm hearing here is we don't have any way of saying no because there's no reason to say no.
The only reason we could say
We
no
can't
would be
say-
if it actually didn't comply with
Zoning.
zoning.
So how does it work when, so for our other substances, for our alcohol permits, we often get renewals of permits, but when they have a new permit, what do we see as the select board? Do we see anything other than just
No.
DNL is looking for a permit?
Well, we
and
know where
say-
it is.
No, that's all I've
Yeah,
ever
we know
seen.
the location.
Well, we know the location, so it wouldn't be, I mean,
This feels very similar.
it's similar to that,
That
Yeah.
we
which
really
makes
come in
sense.
after the
Yeah, I
process has
guess that
started.
there is. I guess I expected,
Something
sorry, but
different.
I guess I expected more. But,
Well, I
yeah,
don't know, and maybe this is because it hasn't happened from the state yet, but at least when we renew an alcohol license, we see the name and the address and the different level classes that
yeah,
they're
it's something.
Yeah,
asking for.
these come through, which I think could be challenged in,
If somebody wanted to.
these come through with a caveat on did you put the email in the license?
It's
in
in
the
our
packet?
And it's in
Oh,
the-
It's on the
yeah.
packet,
We
but it's
saw it in the
online,
folder.
yeah.
So they say that the address is confidential, but it's not confidential in the zoning permit.
If it's not
Which is
confidential
public.
there, why is it confidential?
So we need to see both in order to make this determination. So can we shelve it for next meeting?
Can we
Is
do
that
that
within the
timing?
time period?
I think so, because we have 60 days, I think.
So we-
And the
because we
worst
need
thing
to
that
see the
happens is it
zoning
just goes ahead
information.
without us.
Right.
So if we don't do anything, it just
It goes
goes
ahead.
ahead with us.
Yeah.
So what we're asking for is to see,
The zoning, the zoning.
The
I
zoning
know,
permit.
I'm telling you, my
Permit.
head has been spinning on this cannabis
It's like
stuff.
I'm
Okay.
not getting anywhere though. It's not, I'm not catching nothing. It's like, that doesn't make any sense.
but in order to make a decision next time, we're asking to see the zoning permit. Is that what
So you
we're?
want to put the zoning permit in the packet?
I think
Probably
so.
should-
that what we're saying?
Well,
I probably should have done that. My bad.
yeah, I mean, it's,
Yeah, but this is our first
Yeah,
go-round.
it's okay.
We didn't know what we wanted to see.
no.
Right.
I think
And
it's better
don't
to ask
know, is that what it
questions
is?
and
Is
to-
how we're gonna get the name and
Yeah,
the
it's
It's probably
address?
hanging down on the,
It's gotta be,
You could
right?
probably go
to work on it.
It's not secret.
No,
No,
right.
but I do think it's important with our first one to not just blanket say yes and to figure out what our process is going to be. So
Yeah.
if it is seeing the zoning permit, then, and if
Yeah.
we are within the 60 days, then,
That's what we should be seeing, yeah.
yeah.
And then we can do this. I mean, we have no reason to say no. If they got their zoning permit, they haven't, there's no offenses, there's no reason.
Right.
We've got to say yes. That was kind of my point.
Yep.
And like I
Is
said,
tell me
this-
why I should, what
Right.
ability do I have to say, no, I don't like this. It's a green building, what are the reasons, what's the reasoning?
The only reasons we could say are like it turns out their sign is too big and it doesn't comply with our zoning.
But that would have
Right.
been caught by our zoning.
That's already taken
Right.
care of, that's what I'm saying, it's
Right.
silliness.
Okay.
Oh, well, let's see the zoning.
I think, yeah, I don't know. I mean, is that unreasonable? I kind of feel like we should see the zoning just as like our due diligence to say,
Well-
this is what Kristen weighed in on.
I mean, we're certainly not gonna approve something I don't even know where it is, or who it is, or anything.
Yeah,
I would like to watch, I recently read in Digger or 7 Days, probably the 7 Days, that the first three retail establishments were approved by local cannabis control boards in Middlebury, Rutland, and Burlington. And I want to it'd be a good thing to watch, if we could watch those
yeah, any of
hearings.
those and see what it looks like. Yeah,
But those were retail licenses, this is a cultivator's license.
but isn't the process essentially the
Yes,
same?
yep. But it never occurred to me that we would be seeing these
Oh, right.
licenses.
Yeah,
Right.
I was under
No,
the assumption that it was
yeah,
retail
I
licenses.
agree, I didn't think we were.
Similar to alcohol and tobacco.
right.
So we can wait till next time.
Okay, we're shelving until next time.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah.
Is there a chance for a public comment?
Steve, can you say your name?
Steve Fortman here. I signed in and I just wanted to give an update to the select board on the status of people for potential cannabis control board nominees. So there's my name and there's 3 representatives from Hazen High School. One is the assistant principal, Casey Potter, Jason Boehner, and I believe it's the nurse, I can't remember the third name. So your status right now is there's 4 names, and then we'd like to have a representative from the police department, from Hardwick Police Department, or at least that's the recommendation, is that the Cannabis Control Board has someone who can speak for EMS, police, and the school.
Healthcare too.
Yeah, health center, which is still incomplete. So I just wanted to give you an update on that progress. And just overhearing the conversation about the permits, I can pass on that, what I learned from talking to some people is that is a similar conversation going on in other towns, is that they have a permit, but it's a name, no address, and no information. And one thing I'd submit is like understanding like, okay, what is the scale or scope? And I don't know if that's part of the permit.
There are levels.
Yeah.
This is a tier 1.
It's a tier, so this is a tier 1, is like under 10,000. I mean, it's very
Square
small,
feet,
right?
I think, yeah.
So it's based on square feet.
I think so.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's something to pay attention to as far as the most basic information
Yep.
that the town would want to know.
I would think,
moving
I
forward.
really would agree.
So I think we should appoint, can we put on the agenda that we appoint Steve
Next
Fortman?
time.
Next time.
Next
So
time.
the next time we can,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
Yeah,
And maybe
we
give
have
it
more
a
names
first.
for you and we
Just
could-
send them to me.
anybody
Yeah.
who
With an email?
formally wants to be on it should send a.
Letter of
Yeah,
interest.
so you have 4
We
formal
should get it
nominations
going.
right now.
Yes.
But they have to send an email to me with their intent.
With a request.
Letter of interest
Yep.
to the
That
town manager.
Individual, okay.
It can be like 2 sentences.
Okay.
And, yeah,
And then if they can attend that meeting where they're on the agenda to be appointed, that would be helpful.
Yep.
Okay, great.
yeah, we could have a select board.
Thank you.
For-
That's huge. Thank you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
Yeah, Tim.
Last time, I just hoping nobody remembered. No, good job. It's crazy,
thank
this
you,
is
Steve.
crazy to me.
Kelly might be interested in it as well.
Are you moving past that agenda item to something else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for coming. It was very good timing.
You don't have to leave right
Yeah,
now.
I know. Just coach the soccer game.
Did we win?
Steve,
Not gonna tell
did we
you.
win?
Fortunately, no. But there's great promise in the future.
Good
Yeah,
game.
good, I like
All
that
right,
too.
there we go, excellent promise.
Should we have lights on in the hall out there?
Maybe. So next item is item 4, business manager, who's Casey, to present the proposed fiscal year 23 water and sewer rates to the select board to consider approving. So our task force or whatever we are met a few times about
Good job.
water and sewer rates. We went round and round the mulberry bush a couple times and basically came back to, let's recycle our existing structure and just adjust it to meet the expenses.
Let's do it.
So Casey's got the numbers,
I'm just gonna do a share screen. So that,
nice, there you go. So you're gonna have to be really clear with us about when we're looking at water and when we're looking at sewer, because it's so confusing.
Water.
Okay.
Start with water.
The clean stuff.
Wow.
The clean water.
So the sheet that you
Going in,
have.
stuff going in.
Oh, we have a sheet. Lovely.
Yep, it's same thing on the screen.
Nice too.
That's
So
Water
The-
before it.
the top part, you'll see what our expense budget is in green, which is the 303,888. That's our target.
And that's the budget that we approved earlier. for
Correct,
water.
that's the expense budget we
Yep.
approved in June, or yes.
Whatever, yeah.
So that's our target revenue that we need to cover the expenses. In the column for, the date, it should be 23, 24. No, that's correct, 22, 23 proposed. Interest miscellaneous income, 3,000, penalties and interest, 5,500. Water rents, the 294. Coming down to the bottom in blue is the proposed budget. So the only changes from the previous year is that we did note that commercial low users should have had the same quarterly allocation as residential, which was the 8,000. So that was just adjusted. And what we did discover is that with lowering the allocation to 8,000 in this last fiscal year, we did have more usage revenue, which was to be expected because the idea was the more you use, the more you pay. So we are targeting our usage to be around 104,000 based on what we collected in fiscal year 22. And so because of that, with the increased usage, the base rates are actually going to go down a little bit. Not a huge amount, but a little bit. So hope every little bit helps. And you'll see over in the right-hand column the amount of the decrease and the percentage of the decrease. It made sense that residential and commercial low users have the same quarterly allocation, so their rate really should be the same. So they're identical now. So your residential, typical residential is going to go down $30 for the year, or $750 a quarter.
Casey, really quick, with the commercial low overage, is that 10,000 or should that be 8,000? Because since we changed the low users, it's reading underneath the residential gallons over. Basically, when we're calculating roughly the overage, is that over 10,000 or is that supposed to be the 8,000?
Oh, yes, and I'll just fix that. It's not going to change any of our numbers, but yes, down in the bottom.
Yep. Okay.
That was just because it was a template. It should say residential gallons over 8,000, yes.
From both of them.
Yeah.
Yep, and I'll just fix that, but it doesn't change our numbers.
Right.
Good catch, okay. Yep.
So do people have questions on the water rates?
Good job.
I stress that we do our absolute best. All we're trying to do is meet the expenses, so this is how we anticipate doing it, and, we know what we collected in usage last year, so assuming it'll be similar, this is where we feel we can raise the revenue we need to cover the expenses.
And we've already talked about this before, but it'd be great to try and get some more folks metered.
Right, next year.
It looks like we got four from last year, there were.
Well, there was a major supply chain.
We're still
Right.
having that.
Yeah.
It's still an issue for getting meter pits.
Yeah.
Or the meters, yeah.
But-
So,
Things,
But pretty much everybody who's in the unmetered
It's a
category
mobile
probably
home.
would rather be metered.
yes,
If we could do
probably.
that.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah,
right?
and we want them to be metered.
got a little side hustle filling swimming pools out of my place. So. Use them in the water truck.
Called Henny Hill. All right.
So doing,
Oh
do
my
the
God.
motions in
Oh, we
separately
could
or
do,
together?
so we could do a motion to. we could-
Motion to do it.
To approve the water revenues?
The water rates or
Second.
rents as proposed.
That sounded like a motion from Sherry.
Motion from Sherry, second from Danny.
Danny tried, but you know.
Jerry did it, I got shut down.
All right. Any,
One's done.
Hog lately.
any more discussion on these rates? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Excellent.
I do have one question. Tanya asked me if there was any, so they have rate codes that they use for the billing. Like as you probably noticed down the bottom, it's like MS1, BCS. She wanted to know if there's any reason we can't combine the residential and the commercial low users into one rate code because they're the same. I mean, it's 8,000 and then they get billed. Is there any reason we can't do one rate code
I
for
think
those
that
two?
only matters to
To-
her,
So it can be, she can decide that? Okay.
I think.
Right.
I mean, does it matter to us? I don't think it does.
Well, can we, the only question I have is,
Right.
will we be
For
able to
reporting.
pull that information out
Two
in a
lines, right.
report?
That'd be my
Separately.
only problem.
No, if you put them into the same rate code, then
No,
they
you're
would
not
just come up
going
as
to.
the same rate
Yeah,
code,
Yeah,
so.
I don't know, I
Yeah.
don't know what we'd use that info, but we're gonna lose it.
Okay, so
I
just keep
don't
it,
know- I
okay.
don't know why we, you know what I'm saying?
Yep, gotcha. Okay.
It's good for tracking purposes.
Yeah, wait, there'll be a time when we'll say, Jesus, boy, we did that.
Okay.
All right,
Sewer's
sewer.
in good shape too.
Okay, so I'm gonna just pull up the sewer.
Good job.
section. So I'm gonna go back to Zoom for a second here.
Okay, so the only other little detail thing, we're in the, I'm seeing sewer off rate in the water and then water off rate in the sewer. Oh, no, I got them mixed up. Never mind, we're good. That was me.
A lot of the same things to look at.
Okay, so let's talk about sewer. In the green is our expenses, which is the 480 that was approved in June. That's what we're trying to raise. In the bottom, the blue, we had similar experience as water. We looked at what we raised in usage in fiscal year '22 and anticipate it would be somewhat the same. We were a little conservative. We didn't budget for as much, just in case. And then, same idea, commercial users will be 8,000. They'll have the same rate as residential. And because of the usage, increased usage revenue that we've seen, the base rate again will go down slightly, not a lot. Most, like about $30 for residential, and then usage over those gallons.
And we should note that this year that we're doing rates for is a year that will, on the expense side, will have the interest-only payments for the bond. And then
Maybe not too.
Maybe,
It's
maybe.
possible, yeah.
Right, so
I don't know if we
anyway,
will.
but our full bond payment won't hit
Until at least the next
until
budget.
at least the next one.
If not the one after, yeah.
So just to note that
It's
things
coming.
look, yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
so, yeah,
And we can buffer it some by putting less into the, when we set the expense budget that year, we can put less into the,
capital, and that's
thank
exactly
you.
what we'll do. Is, because the payment.
Because
is
so much will
only-
be brand new.
Right,
Yeah,
Right.
and then you can ratchet it up over
Yeah.
time, but anyway, that's coming
Make a
down.
motion that we approve this 2022-23 sewer.
Second?
Any more discussion about sewer rates? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
What a mind-bending process that is.
Anybody opposed?
My head was spinning.
Motion carries. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Casey,
Thanks, Casey.
for, you know, plugging in all those numbers and
When I post the minutes on the website, I'll just make those 8,000 corrections, but these will be on the website.
oh, great, for people to see.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
they'll be there.
That's great, because then you can actually look at last year, this year, and the
Right,
change.
and then I think when they send out the bills, they usually do a little insert with the new rates and new quarterly amounts, because people, want to see that broken down, so.
Yep.
So we're
Sounds
going-
great.
We're just going downstairs for the executives. Oh, we still, sorry, I'm ahead.
You're jumping, you're all over the place tonight. All right.
I'll blame it on being a new parent.
That's a good, yeah. Any select board reports?
Yes.
It's on the edge of my seat.
Did you want to go first?
No.
Oh, okay. The townhouse this weekend, Friday, tomorrow night, is the first of two Black Fly Story Hour open mic storytelling events. It's a 5-minute story with a theme of community. And 7:30 to 9 p.m. You can sign up at the door with, we're hoping that people will turn up to tell stories, but we're also hoping people will turn up to hear stories. So it's a free event. Should be kind of fun. 7:30 to 9 at the townhouse.
Hope we got the
Tomorrow night.
Friday.
Yep. And then Friday, October 7th is the second one.
Wear your jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's chilly out.
Yes, it is, up road.
Yeah, bring a jacket, bring a blanket for your lap, whatever. Yeah.
Quit complaining.
Do you have one, Danny? I
No,
do.
He just wants to go.
Yeah, I like to torment you too.
The Historical Society is having as a fundraiser a chicken barbecue October 1st, Saturday, the same day as the craft fair at the school. The chicken barbecue pickup will be at the firehouse. Half a chicken, baked potato, coleslaw, roll, water, $15 a dinner. Pick up between 12 and 2. If you want tickets, we recommend that you buy tickets ahead of time to guarantee that you get a meal. There's no guarantee there will be some left over, although there may. Contact me through my email address in the town, or contact me through info on the Hardwick Historical Society website, or ask any of the members of the board that you're aware of that, we're all selling tickets. The other thing that the Historical Society is sponsoring is a tour of the Center Cemetery on Sunday at 3 o'clock. We will have a guide who will walk around and point out 3 extraordinary tombstones up there, as well as talk about the way tombstone development happened, how people buried people. I mean, what were the funereal traditions 100 years ago, that sort of thing. The same fellow will be giving a more culturally related talk about tombstones and graveyards on Monday at the townhouse at 7 o'clock, free to the public. He's going to talk for about 45 minutes. We'll have a reception at the depot. So it's a tombstone twofer. Sunday at 3 o'clock, Monday at 7 o'clock. I'm glad you left. I intended it to be.
That should be a headline of our select board meeting.
It's in the paper.
Oh, we have headlines now.
We look forward to seeing you there.
Get that community
Thursday.
journalism going.
Yeah, write it in the notes, Casey.
Tombstone twofer.
It's in the Gazette.
All right, more reports.
Old business? No.
I'm just gonna do a quick report that the Yellow Barn project is moving.
Woohoo!
I see that big swat.
No, it's still in the same place.
Oh, sorry. Thank
Not
you.
relocated.
The project is moving.
Something's happening.
Something's
I
happening.
saw the doors were up and the cars were there and people were all giddy.
We had a representative from EDA from Pennsylvania, our regional offices in Pennsylvania, coming up to check in with us about their $3 million grant. And
We're doing it.
we're doing it.
If only he had a briefcase with all the cash.
I know. Yeah.
It's good, let's get it done.
So we're moving, we're hoping,
Spring.
we're hoping to put bids out mid to late October.
Nice.
Building through the winter months.
Hopefully building, at least doing something through the winter. It's a little unclear right now, but
Yeah, good job.
Great.
that's what I got.
Okay.
I have a really quick old business.
Yes, new business, old business.
Can you give me a couple of dates for the HED meeting? The joint meeting?
I thought you were gonna organize that.
I know, but I will if you give me a few dates. How about you give me a few dates that don't work during the week?
Or
Or during, in the
What time of the
evenings?
day?
In the evening.
Evening,
I can't do it now.
other than this,
Can you send me an email in the next couple of days as to what your schedule availability is?
one thing that could work is that we could do it like as a prequel to a select board meeting.
We could,
Yeah.
okay.
What do people think about that?
Or we could
Tends
do,
to be a little
Yeah.
bit easier.
or we could do it on
Why
one
are
of
you
their
meeting with
meetings.
Yep, or
They
one
have
of their
Mon-
meetings.
Monday night meeting. I think it's the third Monday of the month.
No, we're gonna shake it down on me, but you guys won't shake it.
I'm
Why are you
ready.
meeting with
I
it?
like the idea of 5
We've been
o'clock.
doing annual meetings
But
with
why?
them.
So do
Make
you
sure
think
we're
an
on the same
hour?
page.
We are
And
not on the
to-
same page.
And to share, we've actually.
And we don't
accomplished a
share,
lot.
they don't share nothing.
You think an hour?
We're gonna meet,
I think that's more than enough.
yeah.
I think an hour before the select board meeting would be great.
Okay, so an hour before the next, or the following select board
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah,
Our next
some- or
select
some
board
other
meeting-
one.
And
Guess
then,
what?
and then we could do it in person.
Yeah,
It's gonna be your 1
it
year.
has to be in person.
Yeah.
It needs to be in person. We're not
That's-
doing the Zoom
Yep,
thing.
that's one of my
Twinkies waiting.
requirements. And,
so it's 3 weeks.
oh yeah, that was
October
my,
6th.
that was my reminder. We don't have another select board meeting for 3 weeks. So you guys can,
Hallelujah.
Ooh, we got a week off.
Yeah.
I would like to mention that, as a reminder, that there's a public hearing at 5:30 for the zoning bylaw
Right.
changes right before the next select board meeting.
Yeah.
So we won't meet with them.
So we'll push it
HED
out
then.
to the
It'll
second
be the
October
20th,
meeting.
I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, 20.
Perfect.
Speaking of-
I just, a really quick other old business, if we're not done with that, is there an update on the survey for Cary Road yet? Are we, I think that was one of the action items we talked about, was getting.
Yeah,
survey.
July of next year.
Is it July of next year?
Yeah.
It's
June.
like way out.
So.
Yeah,
I-
that was my other question about old business,
Okay.
was that, where we
Yeah.
were at with that.
I will, on throwing up that, wait, on Cary Road. Yes, okay, so I have True Line penciled in on his calendar for June,
Wow.
for that,
Which is as soon as we can
That's the
get it.
business.
as soon as we can get it.
But
We got
the,
2 surveyors lined up for June.
but the task force we talked about the last meeting was gonna take a look at policies for how we would
How we
potentially
sell
sell
property.
property.
Yeah.
So you better call a meeting.
Well, it's
Yeah.
outlined
So
in
you guys gotta
statute
do
on
that.
how we would sell property, but you mean
Right.
like in what, with what caveats?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, what kind of deal we're looking for.
yeah.
Okay, great.
Want it to be good for the town.
So I did speak with NEK Ben, and I can update, I mean, we can,
Okay.
if you want me to talk to you now about it, but we talked about potentially splitting the cost of developing that property. So upgrading the sewer and water and maintaining ownership of it, potentially leasing it to them for their project, and then we would work out a way once once they were in a position to sell property in the project, then we would split the proceeds with them, so they could potentially make their money back. And, because they want to fix a problem, they don't, so.
They wanna make money.
Yeah,
Just
but
like
we
I
wanna,
do. And I got real estate.
okay.
We should build there too.
So anyways, yeah, we were
So
having
let's-
discussions
You and me
about.
split the infrastructure costs.
It's not always about
And
making
when I
money.
sell it, I'll
And then
split
are
it
we
with
gonna
you.
have- did we ever figure out when we're having our board retreat? Did I miss that?
So that was my next thing, was.
October
It
12th.
was picked as October 12th.
Yeah.
I was not at that meeting. I guess I'm not sure what the vision was for that retreat, but if budget is a part of that, I think October 12th is too soon.
We pushed back to November.
I mean, our auditors are coming the week of 26, and, I mean, I have started a draft, but like normally I don't start going over budget until November. So if we could push it out.
But budget isn't part of it, it's not a,
Gotta do
well,
it. I thought-
I guess what
What are
was,
we doing?
I thought we were-
what types of stuff was gonna be
We
on the
weren't gonna have a
agenda.
budget.
So,
no, it's about
Get a bad case and not available.
doing visioning and
Suddenly
things
recovery
that
is
we
12
don't do.
weeks.
Capital plan.
Yeah,
You better get out of here.
it's not about budget,
I'm gonna
really.
go on that other
Not-
guy's schedule.
and I guess that was my question is, because
Yeah.
if it was about
Okay.
budget, I just thought October 12th would be too soon, at least
I-
for me.
I didn't think it was
but-
about budget.
Okay, so
What's
Big
it about?
project-
More
Projects.
about,
Bear drinking.
what
Capital-
does the agenda
capital
look
plan.
like?
Capital planning.
Cribbage playing and beer drinking.
Okay.
Darren
So,
needs to go home.
not,
Just
so
enough, but you
not,
can't take him out.
it sounds like it's not necessarily budget related and
no,
could be
it's
done.
still, it's the thing, yeah.
So we're
Okay.
still sticking with
It
the
can be
12th.
done
Okay,
without the
it can be
budget.
done without the budget. The 12th, did we say it was gonna be the 12th?
Amanda
Yep.
sent
Yeah.
out a poll, and I think that was the
Yep,
date.
12th
that,
was
Oh,
what they said.
all right.
So we'll do
So-
a,
Did somebody send a calendar
Why are
invite?
we doing that?
Probably not.
What's
Where
your deal
or
with
when?
calendar
I
invites?
need one.
Your
Does-
house.
Doesn't it just happen on your
'Cause your
email?
water-
It does on mine.
My water's free.
Whenever there's a
Yeah.
date in there, it just, it's
Puts
right
it
up
in
there
your calendar.
I made
automatically.
up over, I gotta use my usage
Tell
before
your
it's free.
computer to do your calendar invite.
you'll be the first place we
All
install
right,
that meter.
so let's reel this in. So, any other new business, old business reports? So, I'd like a motion to go into an executive session to discuss personnel
So moved.
with the town manager
Second.
downstairs. So we had a motion from Danny, second
For me.
from Wiz. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Downstairs, and this'll, I think it'll be a